Hi, my name's Jason and I am brand new to all this. I love gear. I love synthesizers, pedals, guitars, drums, all sorts of things. I've been a musician for quite a number of years, probably over 30 years. I've been into electronic music for about the same time, and over the last 10 years or so, I've gotten really serious about electronic music and electronic music equipment. I produce house music and I've released for a couple of labels. I try and release something through those labels every year, and I especially like producing house music, but also drum and bass. You can find my stuff on all the major channels, on SoundCloud, on Apple Music, Spotify, all that stuff under my name, Jason DeRoche, so would love for you to check that out. But really, this is a passion, a hobby, and I don't know about you, but through that time, I've got more and more into gear, and especially hardware. I kind of fell into that whole thing of wanting to be able to perform outside the box, I don't know about you, and it just became a bit of a rabbit hole. And over the years, I've kind of bought and sold a number of things really strategically to come to a place where I feel like I really love what I have. And kind of this channel is all about that, just having a chance to kind of play with what I have. And it's also one other thing. I don't know about you, maybe you've got your partner, your girlfriend, whoever, and you love talking about gear, but they just kind of humor you, you know? And also, I live in a small town in Ontario, so there isn't really a lot of people to talk to about this thing, about this stuff. So this is me having an outlet to talk about electronic music and the gear that we love. Partially so that I don't drive my wife crazy, but also just because I think it'll be really fun. So I'd love to hear from you on this stuff as we go. Now, today, what I want to show is my Moog Subsequent 25, and alongside a pedal that I just got recently, a stomp box. Now this one's an old one, but you'll see here, it's the Eventide ModFactor. Now this thing is a beast. I picked it up for an incredible deal, and man, I have been just addicted, and the pair with the Subsequent 25 and the Eventide ModFactor, just the chorus alone was worth what I paid. But then we need to talk about getting into phaser and flanger, vibrato, and even ring mod and the undulator. My goodness, this thing is incredible. So today we are gonna be talking about this combination, and we are gonna hear some things through it. I just wanna spend some time playing some things for you, just kind of talking about how I use these things. So let's get into it. Now, just to let you know, I've got a simple setup going on here. I've got my Moog going into the Eventide, and then the Eventide or Eventide, however you want to pronounce it. I'm just gonna stick to one of them, the one that comes natural for me. It's coming out into my circuit tracks, and then the circuit tracks is going into my Focusrite interface. So we're gonna start out here on the Eventide with just the liquid chorus. Now, what's really cool about the ModFactor is it's got like 4 or 5 in some cases, different types of each effect. So not only does it have all these different effects, 10 different effects, in each of them there are multiple types, and each type has quite a different sound to it. And I found that with the chorus especially. Like I said, I kind of bought this thing because I wanted a decent sounding chorus pedal, and this thing comes through. So what I want to do is I've got this on activate panel, so what you see is what you get, and I'm just going with a simple sawtooth. Now, one of the cool things about the Subsequent 25, as you know, is from 0 to the middle up here, it's 6, here we go, 6. That is introducing no overdrive or saturation. But when you get beyond that, you start introducing pre-filter saturation. So right off the bat, it can get pretty beefy sounding. Now here it is with just on its own. Now I just love that kind of classic analog tone. Now let's put this on. Listen to the difference. I get intensity all the way up. We're just using the liquid. Depth is just kind of halfway, speed is halfway, shape is just the sign. Take a listen. Bit of resonance. I always put the multi-drive up when I'm putting resonance on. Just a little to compensate, because as you know, it loses volume. Trying to talk while I play. So yeah, that just adds such a richness to me. It fills it out. Now, what I love, like I said, there's more than one here. So that liquid, what I find, it adds chorus to the highs on the sound. So it just kind of takes that sparkly part, you know, in that upper range of the frequency spectrum, and it adds the chorus effect to that, just spreading it right out. And this intensity allows you to kind of determine how much you want, really how wide you want it to get. Now, as I said, there's other types, so let's go through those now. Now we're gonna go to organic, and it kind of gives you a chorus around the mid to low range on the frequency spectrum. So it's kind of giving you like a thicker sound to it. It's not gonna be as sparkly as the liquid. And so let's take a listen to that. Now, again, I've got depth, not doing a whole lot. I kind of like it where it's not introducing a lot of pitch shift to the sound, and speed right there. Shape, I kind of like the sine wave, so here we go. Cool. So that's the organic. Now let's move on to the shimmer. This one is one of my favorites. I'd say the liquid and the shimmer are my favorite because it gives you that upper end chorus as well. I feel like the shimmer is like a combination of the organic and the liquid. So let's take a listen to that. So there we go. And the last one is classic. And this one, it's cool, it's mono, and it, I think, would sound really good on a guitar. And it's kind of funny, chorus pedals, I've never really loved the sound when it comes to my guitar. There's some certain jazz musicians that have kind of used it as their signature tone, and it's one of those things where I like it, but I don't love it. But I find chorus with this guy, with the Subsequent 25, it just kind of makes it come to life in a whole new way. It just interacts with it so nicely. And so that's one of the reasons why I love this pedal. It pairs off with it so well. But as I said, the classic, I think is more of a guitar effect, but take a listen, see what you think. Kind of gets a cool beating effect now that I brought that other one in. So that actually sounded pretty cool. Okay, so I've kind of shown off some of the things the Eventide can do there with just the types. Now, another thing that I find really cool with the ModFactor, you see that you've got this row down here. And this is for really getting into some more custom effects with this thing. Essentially, you get 2 LFOs with this, right? So each chorus or phaser is running off of the first LFO, and the shape of the LFO, I find it's got a really good range of shapes. You've got sine wave, triangle, peak, which is gonna be, I believe, like a triangle rounded off. Should have checked into that. Random, which is what it says, it's gonna take it into random places. And by the way, I love this. You can see when you're out of the preset mode, you can actually see what is going on. So I could actually show that with the peak, and the depth really gives you the full range. So there you go. So yeah, it is kind of flattening out. It's like the triangle flattening out. And the speed, you can just see how it goes there, and you can even change it with the press of a button. You can change it. This is your tempo, and you've got different subdivisions. So that's a dotted quarter note, half note triplet. So into, even I love that, you can get into 5 notes per beat or 5 notes per subdivision, almost into like fusion territory. So there you go. Yep, the shape. And then random, that was peak, and now random, it's just gonna be taking it to different places. So that's a really cool effect. Ramp is gonna be giving it just as it shows there, which is a cool effect with, say, the tremolo or that sort of thing. So it's acting as almost like a repeating envelope. And then what else we got here? Square wave, so it's on and off basically. Sample and hold, envelope, ADSR. Envelope and ADSR are just a slightly different curve to picking up the signal. And then expression pedal, which I haven't used yet, but you can use an expression pedal with this to adjust the depth. So as I said, this thing gives you a LFO. So let's just kind of listen to each of these. All right, let's open it right up. So that's the sine wave. Now, isn't that amazing? It's just, here, actually, let's do this. Back to just one sawtooth. It sounds like a super saw because of this thing. So then, now we've got that one. Let's go into the shape triangle. Slightly different. Peak, that's interesting. And you can kind of hear it pulsing back and forth. Random, it's not gonna be as obvious with chorus as to what that's doing, but with other effects like the Q-wah or the mod filter, you can really hear it. Ramp is cool. By the way, I haven't got it hooked up right now because I don't have a drum machine going, but each of these effects you can you can sync to your tempo. If you're doing a jam, if you're doing it live, you can put a MIDI into that there and it actually will sync up, which I'm gonna have another video one day. I use my Volca sample with this and it creates some really cool drum loops because of that. So each of these things can be synced. Anyways, back to what we were looking at, that's the ramp. Square. Cool. Sample and hold. Envelope, ADSR. I like how that just basically gives it a stereo widening effect. right, so that's a little bit about the LFO. Now, one of the things that I find so powerful about this, especially coming from the synth world and the importance of LFOs and how it is kind of a big deal when synths include more LFOs and even LFOs that can interact with one another, it can create some really cool sounds. That's what happens here on the ModFactor. In this row here, you've got another LFO that will interact with these knobs here, and it's nicely written in the instruction manual. If you're not sure what LFOs do, low frequency oscillators, the best way of thinking about it is that they will actually, you can, depending on the routing of your synth or your pedal, they will actually turn one of the knobs according to a certain shape and over time according to whatever speed you've got going on here. And that's exactly how they describe it here. You've got an LFO down here, and again, you can choose which LFO it's gonna be. They got all the same choices: sine, triangle, peak, random, ramp, square, sample and hold. It's amazing how many there are, and an envelope, ADSR, expression pedal. So anyways, we'll go to sine wave, and these will interact with the top row. So let's get it obviously showing here. This is what it's doing right now. We'll have it so that's really obvious. Right? I still love the sound of those choruses. I don't know about you. Now, when we introduce the depth mod, this LFO is going to interact with this depth. So it's actually going to alter this according to this new LFO. See, as according to a sine wave, when it's hitting the top of the LFO sine wave, it's gonna make this turn more, and when it's shrinking, when it's going down towards the middle of the sine wave, it's gonna be making this move less. So isn't that cool? So, and then if you do this, it's gonna do it to the most extreme. And if we show the speed, really hear that. Let's use this to get some effects here. So you can do some special effects, I think, with this. So there you go. And now the S mod, what that's gonna do is it's gonna interact now according to the LFO with the speed. So the speed of this top LFO is gonna change according to the bottom. So it's gonna speed up and slow down. Really cool for drones. And then the mod rate interacts with it as well, where it's going to be changing these at a certain speed, whatever it's set to. Cool. So that is a little bit on those LFOs. So As I said, I just find this Eventide pedal to be a ton of fun. The thing is, it's been out for quite some time, but I found when I was looking on YouTube, there just wasn't a lot of videos, and all of them were guitar videos. So I thought it'd be really cool to show you what it sounds like through a synth, especially through a beautiful synth like the Subsequent 25. Now, let me just kind of show what these two can do together now in terms of the different options that you can get. Because when it comes to the Sub 25, what I use it for is kind of a bit of everything. I use it a ton for bass lines because it's just got such a perfect sound for that. And by the way, one of the really cool things about this is it has the gate reset, I believe it's called, where essentially when you turn that on, it's one of the hidden features, but it's pretty easy. It's just one of the buttons when you're in the hidden features. And what it does, and what it's important for bass lines, you get a couple of options, is when you put that on, it's going to make sure that if you've got multiple oscillators going at the same time, let's get this up. So if you've got multiple oscillators going at the same time, their rates are, their oscillator frequencies beat, according to one another, and which is a cool sound. But when you are looking for low end to be punchy, that you can actually see it in the waveform, that will actually diminish your punchiness when they don't hit at the same time. Actually, they can do a bit of phasing effect while they're actually kind of lowering the amplitude overall. So what this gate reset does is it makes sure that they both, when you press a key, they both start at the same place, so it's punchy every time. So all you're doing in order to do that is you go into this hidden feature mode, I guess you could say, by just pressing 4 and activate panel, and then you are just pressing that button there. See, and it's gonna reset at the same time. Right? Hear the punchiness of it, and you take it off. See, there it goes. Where they're hitting at different times. Now, one of the things I found, both are desirable, because if you're trying to have like a sound that's going over top of the bass layer, then it's kind of cool to have it so they're doing that kind of multiple hits, different effects. That kind of creates more of a vintage sound to it. You really get the kind of analog feel from it. But like I said, if you're wanting something to be punchy, where it's gonna hit hard each time, especially if you're using this for sub bass, which is where you really need it, then you've got that option. So as I go along, I just want to talk a little bit about those hidden features. I find that even though, like I said, it's sometimes frustrating to remember where they are, the fact that they're there makes this thing a super versatile synth that's a lot deeper than it may look on the surface. So yeah, let's show off what this thing can do for bass lines, and then I'll show you some other things as we go along. So we've got a good bass sound dialed in here. Getting without. With. Cool. So just for fun, I've got a beat going here, got a bit of sidechain going on, and let's play a tune. This is a bass line from one of my songs. Let me take a drink of this. All right, here we go. Cool. So shows off a little bit of what it can do with bassline. Here's another sound that I absolutely love using with chorus. Right? And then I've got it set up so it can kind of introduce some wave movement. So what this sound is made from, as you can hear, this is like a classic house sound. It sounds amazing with this pedal. Right? So what I've made this with is it's essentially 2 triangle waves. And one of them is, so it's not showing the, one of them is an octave higher plus 7, like basically a perfect 5th up from it. So you're getting kind of that, in the guitar world, you're getting that kind of power chord sound to it. And right now they're 2 triangle waves. Now when I do this, I've got it so that it's essentially moving this one from a sawtooth, and then it's doing it according to the envelope. So it's moving from a sawtooth down to the triangle according to the envelope. Kind of creates a cool sound. And also, maybe I'll put on a little bit of effects here. Cool. So let's get another tune going here. I'm just gonna kind of use the same drum beat. Maybe we can try a different kick drum just for the sake of variety here. There we go, that's a cool one. Add a little bit of distortion. Can't hurt. And we'll bring in drum number 2. Add a little bit of distortion to it too. And add some effects to that drum. Isn't that nice? I'm gonna do the same, add effects, so that when we bring in this, it's got a bit of room sound as well. Sweet. So easy to dial in some cool stuff. I'm gonna bring it back so it's just that. There we go. Sweet. So that is Subsequent 25 going through the Eventide with some beautiful chorus, just the liquid chorus, and going through the circuit tracks to have some fun jamming. That's a little bit of what I do with bass lines. Now, let me show you this thing for melodies. And I've got a patch here that is essentially pulse width modulation going on with some square waves. So you're getting like a really cool kind of Juno-esque sound. Now again, just to give it, hear it without anything. Like that. It's a melody from a new track that I'm working on. Now with chorus. Now, a cool trick if you want to make it sound a little more vintage and just add some character to it. I love adding a little bit of pitch modulation at a slow LFO rate. It's just giving it a little bit of character, a little bit of extra interest to it. So let me show it to you now though with a little bit of reverb and delay. Let's increase the reverb. Right? Doesn't that sound so full? You've got, as I said, just the chorus from here going into a simple reverb in the circuit tracks. I'm just gonna kind of improvise a melody here in A minor. Sorry for the little trill there. So you see what I mean? It's just got such a good sound. Introducing that pitch even more, we're making it sound more and more vintage. I love it with the swelling. Without, with. Let's do a different type, shimmer. That's maybe a little too dramatic. Cool. So it's great for melodies. It is also really good for arpeggios. Let's get an acid sound going here. Let's get a drum beat going. Let's take off those. Here we go. Let's go into triplets. But you get the idea. Now, there's obviously so much more you can do here. One more thing that I love to do with the Moog is like drones. So you can have this as like a texture in behind a pad, which I use my other synths for. And for that, we can get the chorus cranked right up, maybe introduce some more interesting take the tempo off. Some more interesting movement here. And let's find another patch. We'll use the melody patch. Sustain right up. I'm gonna have it so that it's also interacting with the filter and the wave amount. We're gonna make sure really big reverb, lots of delay. Let's get the resonance up, tiny bit of multi-drive. Let's add the sub oscillator. Okay, listen to that, right? Without any of the effects. Listen to that chorus, right? It just adds so much to it. Some simple effects. And now my favorite thing to do, sweep the filter. You can even create a little bit of a melody. So yeah, I'm gonna end there. I don't know how long this video is gonna end up being a fair amount more because I was able to kind of show off some of the things that the Subsequent 25 can do alongside this Eventide pedal. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is the first of many to come where, like I said, I'm just kind of talking about the gear that I've come to love over the years. As I've said, I've kind of bought and sold a lot of different things to get to this place, and I feel like I'm at a really good spot with each piece of gear has, it's strategic, it has a purpose behind it, and it sounds really good. So, bye for now, and see you next time.